Hey everybody, it's Jordan Cunliffe. I'm back here with another video today. Today's a big day for me. It's 100 days of sobriety. First time I've had that in a really long time. Going back 7 or 8 years probably, maybe up to 10. I had a few spurts of sobriety up around 10 years ago, but really it's the first time that I've had 100 days where I'm 100% dedicated to this process. And that's what it is. It's a process. I think, in some of the other videos I've made, I've talked about all the blessings and all the good things that have come as a result of me being sober, and all those are true. But to say that it's not a process would be foolish. It's, you know, you have this idea, or I had this idea that, you get sober and everything in your life changes like right off the bat. And it does in some ways, like some of the things I've mentioned about being reconnected with my family, um, and having a good friendship. And I'm working, I'm doing a lot of more positive things that will pay off in the future. But there are still some tough days, and it is still a process. There's days where I'm ridden with pretty high anxiety. And for a lot of people, it these first 100 days probably had a lot of days of really extreme cravings. I have been fortunate enough that I haven't had to deal with a ton of cravings. But it is important to remember that this is a process. So if you're out there and you're starting to get sober and life isn't, you know, great out of the gate, this is a marathon, not a sprint. I try to think about it in terms of like, well, I know my life isn't as stressful day to day, and it's not as ridden with guilt and shame and low self esteem as it was when I was using. I've gained a lot of self esteem back, and I've been able to reestablish my family relationships, and I've mended a really important relationship with my best friend Casey that you know not that it was ruined, but I wasn't doing what I needed to do to be a good friend for a really long time, and I'm really trying to do that now. And part of that, I just texted him the other day and said, man, thank you for not giving up on me, because I haven't been able to be a good friend for you for the last decade. And his response was that he, of course, and he would have never given up, and that really meant a lot to me, made me emotional. So yeah, like those are some of the things that can happen right away. Like you get some of those relationships back, and that's great. And you may or may not be as fortunate as I was to have that happen. You may take a little bit longer in some cases, but for the most part, what I can say, that you will get instantly is that you're not doing things to put yourself in a bigger and deeper hole, or to make your life worse, or doing things that make you shameful. You know that you're moving in the right direction. Your family's happy to see that, and those sorts of things. But to say that it's not a long process, it is a long process. I'm still learning about myself. I'm still healing from a lot of the things, and coming to terms with kind of where I am in life. I mentioned that in another videos that the first thing that you have to do is be honest with yourself. And it's hard to do that when you're using, because you're using kind of masks all that emotional pain or things that would make you anxious, and you're not able to care about the same things that you are when you're sober. So it's difficult to be honest about where you're at, because you have this thing that masks all that pain and all the things that you kind of don't want to take a look at. So, but I am super proud of the fact that I have 100 days today. It's been a really good first 100 days. And I'm just really happy to be part of my family's lives again. I've got some trips planned coming up that I'm really excited about, and that should be a lot of fun. I'm going to Casey's wedding. I'm going to be the best man in his wedding. And all of these things are things that are motivation to stay sober, because I know if I don't remain sober, I can't be a part of these things. I know I can't show up at his wedding, strung out. And so it's all, so part of getting sober is you just finding these little things to keep you motivated. And you can't really do that until you get sober, until you realize what the good things are in your life that are worth staying sober for. And the other thing I wanted to kind of talk about today is that, like, I had this realization that I post all these videos about how great things are going. And I see all these other podcasts and motivational videos about, people doing all these great things. One of the guys I follow is Gary Vee, and he's always on the move. And he's a really successful businessman, and a byproduct of that is he's done some speaking, and a lot of it is looked at as motivational speaking, although that's not what he totally views himself as. He's a true entrepreneur. But yeah, I look at some of these guys and I think, how do you do it? How do you have all this motivation? And just the other morning, I woke up, and it was kind of the first. I go for a 2.5 mile walk, and the other morning it was the first time that I woke up, and I thought to myself, man, I don't really feel like doing this today. And but I stayed disciplined, and I did it anyway. And my realization in that moment was, all these people that do these great things, they don't feel like, it seems like they just have like an unlimited amount of motivation, but the reality is that they're disciplined. And I'm really trying to live with that principle as well. Just complete discipline over my actions and my routine. Because what I realize is that people that do all these great things and all these successful people, it's not that they wake up every morning with all this motivation to get things done. A lot of it is they have the discipline to do things even when they don't want to do them, no matter how they feel. And that's kind of how I'm taking my recovery. I don't always feel like, I go to a meeting 7 days a week, and I don't always feel like going to the meeting. I'm tired from work or whatever's going on. I've got a lot of anxiety, but the important thing to do is to stay disciplined to the goals I've set for myself, and doing each thing every day, even if I don't feel like doing it, to be able to accomplish that goal. Even if it's just a daily goal or a yearly goal, whatever it is there are certain things that I have to do every day in order to remain sober and to make these videos. And even when I like my walking, even when I don't feel like it, I got to do it. I come home and I do push-ups and sit-ups after my walk. And exercise is really hard for me because I haven't worked out in 8 to 10 years. And so it's killing me, but, and I don't always, it's not always fun, and that's the other thing is, like, getting sober, it's a net effect. It's like, what's your net score? There's a bunch of things that I have to do every day that I don't feel like doing all the time. And I just have to make sure I do them, because I never sit down after my walk and I'm like, oh, I'm upset that I did that. Or when I do my push-ups and sit-ups, I'm not like, man, it sucks that I did that. I always feel accomplished. So trying to remember what I'm going to feel like at that end goal, once I've done that task or whatever it is, once I've done it, trying to remember that it is going to be worth it, is really important for me. The other thing last thing I wanted to touch on was just kind of like a comparison of where I'm at, now. I remember when I was using, I had this, when I was deep in active addiction, I had this thought that, as long as I had meth, that I was going to be fine. Once I got detached from my family and my friends, and, I really didn't have anything to live for. I had these horrible thoughts of like, I can work a shitty job forever and I don't mind dying as an addict, as long as I have meth to use. And, it kind of makes me feel really weird to think about being in that state of mind, because I'm just not there today. Like, that's such a depressing thought. Like, as long as I have meth, I'll be okay. And, I'm sure there's other addicts out there that feel like that. And that's the nature of addiction. It tricks you into thinking that that's all that you need, or then that's all that you want. But I don't feel that way today. I'm so much more re-energized about life. I know there's big things for me in my future, and as long as I'm willing to do the work, and I have this principle of, no matter what, I'm not going to use. Like, no matter what I'm going through, doesn't matter, I'm not going to use. And, as long as I stick to that principle, and I stay disciplined with my working out, and stay disciplined in communicating with my family, and being honest with my emotions, and being honest about where I'm at, because I have progressed a lot in these 100 days. I feel so much better about myself, and I have all these family connections, and I have these trips that I'm looking forward to. And none of that was possible 100 days ago. So it does take work and it does take time, but just remember that recovery is a process, and you just put your best foot forward each and every day, and you never know what can come of it. Like I have no idea what's in store for me 10 years down the road, but I know that if I stay on this path of doing really good things each and every day, that my future is bright, and I truly, truly believe that. And it gets easier and easier every day to live without drugs. So if you're struggling out there, please know that the better life is out there for you, and just keep plugging away at it each and every day. If you're still in active addiction and thinking about getting sober, know that it's not going to be easy, but it's so life is so much better and so much less stressful and so much more enjoyable and satisfying sober. Even though it might not feel like it in the beginning, keep pushing through, because there are bigger and better things out there for you. You can make your family proud again, and you can live a life that you've always wanted to and that you've missed out on for so long. So anyway, I hope this message reaches somebody in some way. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for the support. Much love, y'all. Peace.